Let's get started with our webinar on reports in Zoho Books. Reports are an essential part of any business. They help business owners learn more about the health of their business. Reports help businesses make better decisions by identifying areas of improvement and defining new opportunities for growth. We felt this webinar will be useful for folks who want to learn more about the reports that are available in Zoho Books and how it will help their business become more efficient. We have structured this webinar in a simple manner, and our agenda here illustrates that. First, we see how reports in Zoho Books can help your business. Then we talk about the crux of the webinar, what you can do with the reports in Zoho Books. Now we show what are the functions that you can perform in Zoho Books. And finally, we show a walkthrough and demo on reports in Zoho Books. So let's get started with the webinar now on how reports in Zoho Books can help your business. All the reports that you see in Zoho Books are dynamic in nature. So let's see what dynamic reports are and how they help your business. Dynamic reports are real-time data that provides you with up-to-date information. These reports provide you with current happening of business rather than you getting the information after a few months with little chances of you getting to do something that will help you better your ROI. If businesses have current up-to-date information that they can take better decisions to improve their business, this helps in preventing mishaps to improving the efficiency of your business. So having a dynamic report inside your business, this gives you up-to-date information. This gives you current data, so you know where your cash flow is, what your working capital is, and using this data, you can better improve your business. So having a dynamic data which is presented in a digestible format, which is understandable, which is scheduled, which could be customized to your requirements, is advantageous in current scenario. And if you're using an old system which gives you data at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter, or when your books are done by your accountants, or if you're doing it via Excel, all these data is given to you after the fact, after the thing is over, but it doesn't show you the data what you can see right now in front of you. Now that we understand how the dynamic nature of reports in Zoho Books work, we will next see the different type of reports in Zoho Books and how these reports help you make better decisions and help you understand your businesses better. First, we go with the report of how to identify your best customers. Out of all your stakeholders, arguably customers are the most important ones. So it makes sense to understand your customers on a granular level. Zoho Books has numerous reports that will give you key insights on your customers. Obviously, these are dynamic in nature as we discussed, so you can see the changes in data presented in these reports in real time. So let's take a look at the first report. Which customer purchased the most? With Zoho Books, you can find the customers that have purchased the most from you in a certain period of time. It could be last quarter or this quarter or even this week. The report in Zoho Books is called Sales by Customer. With this report, you can easily find out which of your customers you are selling the most to, and also find out the customers that you're not selling so much to. Using this information, you can guide your sales team to sell more to either of these type of customers. The report also gives you insight into how many invoices were used for the sales to happen, and how also insights on this into the sales with tax and without the tax. Next report is how much your customer owe you. With this report, you can easily find the list of customer who owe you or your current debtors. The reports to find this data is called as customer balances. With Zoho Books, you have the option of giving your customer credits. And what this report intuitively does is it subtracts the credit that is owned by your customer and shows you the exact amount that is owed by the customer. Next report is how much time your customers take to pay you. Some of your customers might pay you before their credit period. Some of the customers might not. It would be great to know who's paying you when, and with Zoho Books reports called Time to Get Paid. This with this report, you can find during which time period does your customer pay you the most. It could be in the first 15 days, or the next 15, or the 31st first to 45th days, or does it take about 45 days to pay you. Using this data, you can either extend or reduce the credit days that you can provide to your certain customers. This helps you in managing your working capital better and keeps your cash flow healthy. Next is how do you, to see the payments that you have received in a given period of time. So if you want to see the payments that were received in last week, like as you can see on your screen in your Zoho Books org, then you can use the report called Payment Received. Using this, you can plan your future business activities and make sure you are not short of cash. Now that we have seen some reports on customers for business, the other side of the coin are the vendors from whom you purchase your products. This is usually applicable for businesses which trade in goods and the ones, not for the ones who engage exclusively in the service industry. Using these reports, you can find data on your vendors and stay on top of your payables. So the first report that you see over here is which vendor you've purchased the most from. So you can find your regular vendor using the reports purchases by vendor, use this information to your advantage. You can reduce your vendor concentration if most of your purchases are from one or two vendors. You can also use this information to get better margins or payable days from your vendors. Next is if you want to find the item that you have purchased the most, you can use the report purchases by item in Zoho Books. Using this report, you can find which item you have purchased the most and the total amount paid and what was the average price per item. This gives you more information on the items that you have purchased and figure out how you can squeeze better margins out of your purchases. Next is the report on vendors that are yet to be paid. With this report, you can easily find out the list of vendors who owe you or are your current creditors. The report to find this data is called vendor payables or vendor balances. With Zoho Books, you have option of giving your vendor credits, and what this report again intuitively does is it subtracts any credit that is owned by your vendor and shows the exact amount that is owed by you to your vendor. Using the AP aging summary, you can find how long does it take to clear your payables. If you are clearing your dues much earlier than your credit period, you can change this behavior to better your working capital. You can also use this data to better your payables dates to your regular vendors. So you can pay your vendors in the first 15 days or in the next 30 or in 31st to 45 days or above 45 days. It also shows you how much you have paid up until now. With the payments made report, you can easily find the payments that have been made to your vendors so far in the fiscal year or in the particular quarter, and find the total cash flow that has gone to your vendors. Now that we have seen customers and vendors, we will talk about sales and receivables. Sales are generally the aspect of business that brings in cash for your business to sustain. Let's see the type of reports that Zoho Books offers to monitor the sale of the firm. With Zoho Books, you can record the category of products that you're selling, and using this sale by category report, you'll be able to find your best selling product category. Based on this data, you can make sure you are ahead of the curve and keep in stock your best selling products. Now, the title of this report is self-explanatory to one and all. This report tells you how the performance of each salesperson is like and gives you a fair insight as to how your sales team has been performing. So, sale by salesperson report gives you which particular salesperson has created most number of invoices, most number of sales has been done, and what has been the credit notes that has been issued for this by this particular salesperson, and so on and so forth. Now, the next report is how much time it takes to turn your sales into cash. This report is significant if you're looking into optimizing your working capital and keeping your cash flow steady. Using this report, you can find when your sales are converted to cash per customer. The report is aging summary by invoice due date. This explains the time it takes for all your sales to convert back into cash, and based on this, your working capital and cash flow is determined. Moving on to the next set of reports on purchases and expenses. To sell a product, you first need to purchase it from your vendor. You also might need to incur some expenses with respect to the execution of your sale or purchase. Evaluating purchases and expense to keep your costs low and improve your margins in a business, there is a limit to which an expense can be cut. There will be some bare minimum expense that a business has to incur in order to run, but sales can be increased as long as there is an addressable market size. So let's see a few reports on purchase and expenses and how you can reduce your expenses to a manageable level and increase your bottom line. First is the payable summary report. With this report, we will be able to find all the payables that are pending or that have been paid for a particular period of time. Now, to reduce or cut your expenses, you need to understand where your majority of expenses are incurred. Expenses by category report gives you your expenses that your firm has been incurring category wise, and you can take a call on whether you should cut back or better your ROI. Sometimes to obtain a business from a customer, there is some cost attached to it as well. But if these costs are not controlled, they could spiral out of control. Hence, using the report expenses by customer, you can find the expenses incurred per customer and decide how worthy these expenses were and where you can do certain cutbacks. Now, depending on the type of your business, there might be certain projects that you have taken up, and in Zoho Books, you can invoice your projects to your clients, and you can also attach any expense that you incur for the project. Using the report expenses by project, we can easily determine expenses that a firm has incurred for every project. Now, some of your employees might incur some expenses while going on their day-to-day activities. This can be easily calculated using the expenses per employee report. So based on this, you can make sure you talk to your employees and get to understand where these expenses are, and you can also create an expense rules that these are the certain rules that you can perform for your expenses and so on and so forth. Next set of reports are functions that you can perform in Zoho Books. Up until now, we have seen different formats of reports that are available in Zoho Books. Now we will see the various functions that you can perform inside the report section of Zoho Books. First is configure report layouts. You can configure the reports the way you want them to look when you print it or export it as PDF. So basically you can see over here, you can calculate how the table density should be like, how the table design should be like, what information do you want to display. Do you want the organization name, report basis, when it was generated, who generated it, or the paper size that you want to print it at? Do you want it in portrait mode or in landscape mode? Or depending on where you're consuming the data, that makes a significant difference. So we will see how all of these works in our demo and the walkthrough that we're going to show later in the session. You can also get reports delivered straight to your mailbox right from the Zoho Books report section, and you can schedule the reports for weekly, monthly, or quarterly delivery dates. You can add a few other email recipients as well. If you do this, you will never miss a single report that you schedule, and you're up to date with all your reports. So with this scheduling report, basically you can go to any report that you want, you get fancy. Let's say you want to see a sales by salesperson report. You can at the end of the week you can schedule a report that goes to your email box, and it can be a PDF format or in an Excel format, and all the data is you can all the data, you can have it in your mailbox. You can see it when as and when you like it, and you can easily get a grasp on how your business is performing. So you can do this for numerous reports. So this gives you access to your data as and when you need it, and you can schedule it and forget it, and as it hits your mail you can just take a look at it at the start of the week or at the end of the week to see how your business has performed. Or you can even do it on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis. So this is completely under your control, and we strongly suggest that you schedule these, and you keep a eye on your business and how it's been performing. Next is with Zoho Books, you can share the reports with certain members of your team, and you can give them access based on what you determined is the right level of access to them. It could be view only access, it could be view and export, it could be view, export, and schedule. And you can choose the user to whom you want to schedule this report, like share these reports to. This way, everyone in your business is up to date with all the data they require to function better in your business. Now, certain reports have options to customize them or compare them with previous year's data as well. We will play around with this more during our demo. Now, let's get started with the demo and walkthrough section of our webinar today. So first walkthrough would be on the dashboard and the associated reports of the dashboard as well. So let's switch to the org. So this is our demo org kind of a thing. So you can see this is the dashboard. This is the first thing that you see when you enter Zoho Books. So all your receivables, all your payables are shown directly in front of you. You can also see your cash flow that's been coming out and going out, what's the ending balance, what your income is and what your expenses are, what your top expenses are. So you get a bird's eye view of your entire business right here in front of you. You can also see the projects, you can see the unbilled hours, you can see unbilled expenses, what kind of banks and credit cards that you have associated with it, so on and so forth. And all these data are dynamic in nature. You can just check them out. So when is it due? So when your receivables are due, when your payables are due. So everything is currently clearly visible over here inside the dashboard itself. Next, we'll go to the report section of the books. So this dashboard gives you a bird's eye view. Reports give you in-depth view of your business. So these are the reports that are available in your org. So it could, like we spoke about so many reports in our webinar. In that you can see the business overview reports, you have the sales reports, inventory reports, recurring invoices, payments received, receivables, payables, purchases and expenses, taxes. All the reports are available right here in the report section. We strongly suggest you play around with it and see what kind of reports would be useful for you and how it can help you. We have given you an overview of how certain reports can help you in certain parts of your business. But it's prudent for you if you're running a Zoho Books organization. You can check these reports out to find out how you can make your business much better. You know your business better than anybody else ever would. So it's up to you to check out how each reports benefits you after going through our webinar, of course, to see the certain advantages that you can take out of certain particular reports. So first, let me give you a demo on what you can functionally do inside a report. So we'll pick out one report and we'll give you how you can do certain things inside the report. But before going into that, let's see the configuration of report layout. So if you click on this configure report layout button right over here, you can see you can choose how you want your table to look. You can make it super dense or super compact. You can make a table design depending on how you want it. Or you can the things that you want to display. Do you want to display page numbers? Do you want to display the date it was generated and do you also want to display when who it was generated by. You can also have it in landscape mode, you can have it in portrait mode, you can check around the margins, you can check the paper sizes. So why you're doing this is, so when you're exporting a report or when you're printing a report out, you want it to look the best way to consume it. So basically it needs to be digestible according to you, and each person has their own preference. So it's better if you configure the report layout based on your requirements and how you would consume it better. So this way you can, yeah, easily configure a layout which is applicable for your export and for your print. Moving on, we'll pick one report and see things that you can do with them. So I'll just pick a sales by customer report, and this is sales by customer for this particular year from Jan 1st to December 31st. You can obviously have a custom date range, or you can go for this week's or this month's, or you can go for this quarter's sales, or you can go for this year's sale. So you can change the date range to suit your the data you want to look at. And next, you can also customize this report. What does that mean? Let's take a look at that. So what this means is you can choose this date range of this year and you can compare it with previous year, and you can compare it with previous 3 years or 2 years or whatever, and you can include or exclude certain things, and you also have certain filters you want. You can filter customer name is, and you can choose the particular customer's name, so on and so forth. You can add any number of advanced filters available over here. So I'm just going to keep it simple for now so that it's easier to view right now. You can of course play around with it. So first is the date range. So you can see the date range is this year. You compare it with previous year, previous 2 years, and now I'm just running the report. Hold up. Yeah, now it should run. Yeah, so for Jan 29 to December 29, Jan 2020 to December 2020, and Jan 21st to December 21st. So you can see the sales that has happened across customer base, and you can see what has happened in the 2 years back, what has happened last year, and what is happening this year. So this gives you a detailed insight into how your customers have been responding to your products or your services. So this is just a comparator that I've put in while I'm customizing reports. So different type of reports has different type of customization, and you can customize it to figure out more data and how you can implement certain ideas in your business to make it more efficient. And the other part of it is scheduling this report. So this is the report that you're seeing right now, and I want this scheduled every week to me to see what this customer has been doing. Or you can schedule it monthly or quarterly, or you can even schedule it daily. So let's say I schedule it monthly. It could be for 29th of September, or let's say that at the end of a week. So Friday is October 1st, and I can easily select the time when I want it, and I can select email recipients. I can add additional recipients as well, and I can have it in a PDF format, CSV or XLS, depending on how you want it. And this report is delivered to you every month on 1st to your mailbox, and you can easily keep an eye on how your customers have been responding to your product or service. Next one is sharing this report with other users in your organization. So you might be the admin of your organization. Zoho Books lets you add other users as well. They could just be salesperson, they could just be accountant, and you can share the report with certain people. You can select the users over here, and you can select what kind of permission you want to show. You can have a view only, you can have view and export, you can have view, export, and schedule permission. So depending on this permission, the user will get the report, and he can keep an eye on this report as well. So this has been our small demo, like 5-10 minute demo on the report section. So I've covered all the functions that you can do. Now it's your turn to play around with the product and figure out how each of these reports can contribute to your business's success. Now moving on. So this is reports that are available, what you can do in the report section. I've covered all this in the walkthrough. So we are at the end of our webinar right now. So if you have any questions, you can ask us in the questions tab. And if you're not, you can, after the session, you can write to us at support-wave@zohobooks.com, and our team would reach out to you and help you out with any query that you might have. Now coming to the Q&A session, we have Sami with me, and we'll answer all your questions. We also have a product expert who will answer all your questions for another half an hour, and then we'll close down the session. I'm keeping the screen open for all of you to see that Q&A is active. When we close it down, we'll stop this screen as well, so you know that the session is completely closed. So if you have any questions, on your left pane, you have the questions tab. Go and ask all your questions in the questions tab. And thank you so much for being such a gracious audience.